Recently, I conducted a survey with 100 recruiters from major airlines around the world, asking them how to get approved in the job interview for the flight attendant position. And in this video, I'm going to share a compilation of everything I found out. These are 7 simple tips that, if you apply them in your flight attendant interview, are foolproof. You'll get approved by any airline. Hi, how are you? I'm Ramiro Gutierrez. This is the Flydeck Briefing Channel. I've been a recruiter for 27 years with extensive experience in international airlines, and today I'm going to tell you everything about this research. And if you put it into practice, you will definitely get hired as a flight attendant. The first important tip I found in this research: have an outstanding personal presentation. When I talk about an outstanding personal presentation, I mean everything from visual aspects. So for men, a well-fitted suit. For women, dresses, nothing flashy. In other words, nothing too short, something elegant, and also bring a printed resume in a folder. When you go to an interview, bring a folder, have your resume printed, and be extremely punctual. So these are the primary aspects for you to get approved in the selection process at any airline in the world, okay? Be careful with strong perfumes. Be mindful of your hairstyle. Men, if you have a beard, it needs to be very well groomed. Also, check the airline's own dress code, all right? And pay close attention to these factors. A well-organized, attractive, and neatly aligned resume kept in a folder for you to use during your interview. No matter which company it is, Lufthansa, Alitalia, Emirates, Qatar, any company, you need to have these basic prerequisites. Second point. Before I get to the questions that usually eliminate candidates, you should also keep in mind other important factors, like smiling, smile. Just so you know, there are airlines around the world that actually count how many times you smile during the selection process. Remember, being courteous and able to welcome passengers well is an important factor, and a flight attendant must have this skill. A smile is essential. Socialize with other candidates throughout the different stages. If you're going to take part in the group dynamics at Etihad or the group dynamics at Air France or GL, the Japanese airline, you need to socialize with the other candidates as well. It's extremely important that during the selection process, you try to maintain eye contact with the recruiter. Don't avoid eye contact. Focus especially on this area here, okay? And it's extremely important that you address the recruiter by their name. Name. So, for example, I'm going through a selection process at American Airlines, and the recruiter's name is Dorothy Stang. So, during the interview, I'm going to call her Miss Stang. So, Stang, as I was saying, Miss Stang, call her by her name, okay? I always say that the sweetest sound I can hear, it's the sound of my name, so pay attention to that. Now, let me tell you right now, 2 questions that I consider the most important and that you really need to answer well in your flight attendant interview. The first is, tell me a little about yourself, okay? Don't give a long-winded answer. Have an answer that's about 2 to 3 minutes long, where you can cover both personal and professional aspects. So I could say, for example, let's suppose my name is Tamirs Almeida, and I'm applying for a flight attendant position. I could say, hello, how are you? I'm Tamirs Almeida. I'm 28 years old, and I live in Cairo, Egypt. My dream of working in aviation started at the Egypt Aviation School, where I took the flight attendant preparation course. After that, I started studying languages, and now I speak them well: Portuguese, Italian, and English, as well as Spanish, which I'm just starting to learn. And on the family side, I have 2 daughters who live with my husband. My husband already works as a flight attendant, and today I'm very happy with this job opportunity. For example, here at American Airlines. A short answer that talks a bit about your personal life without getting too personal, but also covers your professional journey. Now, I'm going to teach you the question, which is, why do you want to be a flight attendant? And after that, there are 3 more questions in part B of the video. Stay tuned. Before I continue, Maybe you want to do an interview practice, a mock interview, where I'll interview you to help you practice your skills. And at the end, I'll give you feedback on what you got wrong, what you got right, where you can improve, and what you need to watch out for. Just reach out to this WhatsApp number on the screen. International code 5511 977065417. This WhatsApp number, if you check the first comment on the video and the description, there's already a link for you to click and contact me, okay? The prices are low for subscribers of the Flydeck Briefing channel. Here, videos are never missing and never fail. There's a new video every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Subscribe, leave your like, because the world of aviation is right here on Flydeck Briefing. Second fundamental question. Why do you want to be a flight attendant? Why do you want to be a flight attendant? For this answer, you're going to work on two skills. One is a more technical skill, and the other is a behavioral skill, okay? So, why do I want to be a flight attendant? I could say, let's suppose the position is for Qatar Airways. And then I could say, there are two reasons why I want to be a flight attendant. First of all, one of my main qualities is patience. I am a patient person, able to resolve conflicts naturally. That's the first point, a personal point. Now I'm going to try to connect myself, for example, to Qatar Airways culture. And the second point, I want to be a flight attendant because I believe aviation can connect the world. And I see that cultural connections are part of human history, and Alitalia has an important history with that. So that's why I want to be a flight attendant, specifically here at Alitalia, so I can connect my personal reasons with the company's culture. That's the right way to answer. And of course, it's important that you create your answers according to your own truths as well. What I'm giving you are examples, so you can apply them. If you're enjoying the video, leave a like. It really helps my work. Third fundamental question. How do you handle conflicts on board? This is a question that's definitely going to come up, okay? Out of the 100 recruiters I spoke with, 95 mentioned that they ask this. From European, Arab, South American, and Oceanian airlines. They ask about how you resolve conflicts on board. Here's my tip for answering. Avoid saying things like, oh, I handle it really well, or I'm very calm, or I'm very good at listening to others. Let's give a quick example, an example to use in your answer. STAR, situation, task, action, and result. Look, I handle conflicts well. Let me give you an example. So let's say you don't work in this field yet. You're not a flight attendant. You used to work as a teacher. There was a time, a situation where one of the teenage students was upset, accusing a classmate of taking his materials during class. That's the situation. My task at first was to listen to this student, calm him down, and from there, I started to understand the situation a bit better. I took action by calling both students, talking to them in a friendly way, and figuring out what happened. Then I realized it was just one of them playing a prank, and the result was that the situation was resolved, they stopped fighting, and I moved on with my class. So I gave an example completely outside the field, just so you can understand the methodology, you know? So it's no use just saying that you're good at resolving conflicts. Give a practical example. That's what recruiters want to hear. Fourth essential question. How have you already created delight for customers? So the answer model is the same thing. It's no use saying, oh, customers really like my service. They feel really good with me. Then I'll ask you, do you have any social proof of that? Is that ideal? Do you have any social proof of that? So, for example, I could say, even as a recruiter, if someone asks me that, have you ever created delight for a customer? I can say yes, absolutely. In fact, if you visit my LinkedIn page, there are 3 airlines in the world that have already hired my services for talent acquisition. And they left thank you notes, mentioning my professionalism and especially how I, together with my team, and even with the teams from those companies, made the right choices when selecting new flight attendants. So I usually work efficiently, and I have those testimonials on LinkedIn from people who have already benefited from my services. So use your LinkedIn as well to get that social proof. It doesn't matter what your position is. It doesn't matter your field, satisfy clients. Former colleagues who have worked with you and mention your professionalism. Bosses who have also praised you. All of that can and should be on your LinkedIn, truthfully, of course, so you can create a wow factor during the interview. And a fifth fundamental question. And after that, I have a few more tips to help you prepare so you can really take off in your career. What would make you give up on a flight attendant career? I'll be honest with you, now that I'm talking about it, I was surprised by this kind of question. What would make you give up on your career? Because I, as a recruiter in the aviation field, have never asked that, but I noticed it's becoming a trending question. So, with the answer model, you're going to say the following. Look, nothing would make me give up on this career, especially because it wasn't something I chose on a whim. Then you quickly explain how you chose your career. I chose this career 2 years ago when I had contact with some flight attendants. I learned about the job, how it was done. I started taking the flight attendant training course and realized how much I liked it. So nothing would make me give up. And if for some reason I don't succeed in this selection process, I'll try to understand why I didn't make it and prepare myself better, improve even more, so I can have another opportunity. So I don't see myself giving up on this career. Now, I've just given you some general tips and 5 important questions, but there are other questions that will definitely come up in your flight attendant interview. And I left a complete tutorial for you here in this video. Go watch it, it will really help you out. Great preparation. Take care and see you next time. Bye bye.